We're going to talk about belts, Western belts in particular. I have a bunch of different models here. We're going to go through them, why they are the way they are, what might work best for you. So if you're new, this is the Startup Cowboy channel where we talk about all things cowboy. So if you like this video, hit that like button. Also subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. So as I just said, we're going to talk about belts and kind of the purpose and use and why you might choose one over the other. You'll see in most of my videos recently, well, over the past few years, I've switched to a tapered belt versus one of these, and we'll talk about that when I get to tapered. So this is just your traditional belt as far as build. So it's the same thickness the whole way. You get to decide what type of finish you have on your belt. So you can have just a straight leather belt, no tooling. I would recommend making sure whatever you get is high quality leather if you're going to work in it. Obviously, if it's just for like dress occasion, make sure it looks dressy. This belt here is beaded, which is really cool. Really, the only negative to a beaded belt is depending on how well it's done. It'll kind of basically depend on how long it lasts. So I bought this when I was in high school. I'm obviously older than high school now, so it's been a while. And I didn't work in this, so it's held on for quite some time. But one row on here started to fall out, and I would assume at some point in time they all will. So this would be something I would consider more of a dress belt or a nicer occasion, not necessarily a work belt. But if you want to work in it, go crazy. The next we'll go to staying here mostly just in a traditional build. So this is the same thickness all the way. This is obviously a dress belt. I've seen people use these to work in as well. This is really just ridiculous, but very cool. Wear it forever, probably would still wear it. I would say that if you're going to wear a belt with this much metal on it, definitely think about where that would hang up or different things that could be dangerous if you are working in it. Okay, then we're going to go to just one more traditional kind of build belt. So this is one that's you would not even be able to tell. This is not nice leather necessarily, but it's printed to look like ostrich skin, which is a really cool subtle way to take a normal looking black belt and make it look nicer. So if you saw with all of these belts, they have the option of putting a belt buckle on there. So if you've never done that before, we certainly can show you a video. I'll just do it real quick. Some have quick, easy buttons like a pearl snap, and you just slide your tongue in there, flip it over, clip it down, off you go. The nice part about that is if you were to ever get that caught on something, I'm not going to rip it hard, that will break out of there. I have another belt here that actually just has basically a Chicago screw, which is something they use in tack a lot. It's got a screw end on one and then just a beveled taper on the other, and it loops. It certainly would not break out as quickly, so maybe it'd be a little bit more dangerous. I've never had an issue with that, but same idea. You feed it on, off you go. So as we're talking about those belt buckles, I would say no matter what choice you make in belt buckles, make sure it's something you are comfortable with. So if you're new to Western culture, don't go out there and get just some monster plate that means nothing to you. I just think that's kind of insulting for the most part to cowboy culture. But at the same time, too, maybe think twice about just putting just anything random on there. Make sure it means something to you, whether it be a family heirloom or something that I guess speaks to who you are as a person and says a statement. You can also be pretty boring and be like me, where for the most part I don't wear belt buckles. This is typically what I wear, and I'll go ahead and take this off. This is a tapered belt, and I talked about this at the very beginning. You'll find these in all forms of life, not necessarily just in cowboy culture, which is kind of nice because if you are somewhere where it doesn't call for Western attire, but you still need a belt, it's not like you're going to put a big old belt buckle on a pair of, Dockers and walk in somewhere. So this is a tapered belt. You'll see here at the buckle end, it goes from the normal thickness down thinner and has a small, which is called a three-piece buckle. Here's the three pieces: buckle, keeper, and then this. There's probably a name for it. But when you buckle it together, the same side is tapered. It makes a nice, pretty finish that has the same idea of a belt buckle. Finishes off nice leather product correctly. The nice thing about this taper is it really doesn't dig into your stomach, whether you're bent over doing something or it's just that's the way that you are built. It's really nice. It's very comfortable. This one here is actually LL Bean. It's not some Western brand. You can find lots of makers of these. I would recommend this being a very good first belt for anyone who's entering into Western culture, Western fashion. If you're going to a wedding and it's calling for more Western attire, this is a great way, a good nod to Western fashion without trying to pretend to be someone that you're not. It's a really great belt. So that's just a little bit of an overview on belts. do whatever you want. I would say don't spend a ton of money on your first belt, but if you're going to be doing something for a living, make sure you make good critical choices on what you use because it's going to matter in the long run when you're using it. So that's just a little overview on belts.